I draw it all the time. And if it looks like that, I'm good. If it doesn't, then I'm not doing it. Yeah, I mean, play around with it. Draw your charts out the way you want. Right? Draw bars out, make patterns on paper, create them. I mean, maybe it'll help. I mean, I know it's helped me do this over the years. I promise you, it has been a benefit. So then you get a trigger and a lower high. Now we're going to get the big red bar. All right, so Julia, you see the pivot, right? You know that's the pivot, correct? And there's a pivot here too, right? There's no wick, so it's just the equal bar pivot. So they're right in, so there's pivots resistance, pivot support. Okay, so now what happens is to break either, doesn't matter which pivot we're talking about, the rule for breaking a pivot is the bar must close above or below or become wide, like a big bar, and that's relative to the chart. So what I would say is this: before it gets to the pivot, right? Like you have a price axis over here, right? Doesn't matter what the prices are. You have a price axis. Before it gets to the pivot, look at your price axis, pick out the corresponding price where you say, you know what? If this thing gets to here and it's still not closed, that's wide enough for me to say we're breaking the pivot. We're in process of breaking. This obviously is way too long to wait to call it a break, correct? Like, what are you waiting for? This is not a break. If that's where the bar is right now, that is, you're waiting to see if it's going to close or if it's going to get bigger, and at what point, and there's no magic answer. This is a visual for yourself. So before it starts doing it, look over on your price axis and just say, okay, right, is, you know, where about, right about there. I think right there, that would be enough, I'd say done. Or maybe it's like, well, right there, I would get uncomfortable that if I was short and trying to hold the pivot, I'd be like, nah, I got to kill this thing. So just pick it out and go to the price. Okay, if it gets over 82, I'm going to call it a wide bar. If it gets over 91, I'm going to call it a wide bar. Do not wait for the bar to start forming because now you're trying to decide in the heat of the moment when it's big. Pick it out before it happens so you know. At that price, I'm out. Because if you were trailing and on a pivot break trail, that's exactly what you have to do. You have to identify, okay, I want to wait for a close bar and then follow through. And if it doesn't close, when am I bailing? You need to know that number anyway. So you can do the same thing if you're not in a trade, but you're trying to determine if a pivot's breaking. All right? So either a wide bar or a closed bar, boom, it's closed. Is that wide? No. Is that a substantial break? No. But it closed. So now the second the next bar ticks over that, it's a break. It's confirmed. Okay? The second we tick over, it's like a bar by bar stop. So I close the pivot, boom, break. Now it could fail, right? You could break, come back, leaves behind a wick, and then goes into a red bar right here. Oops. Come on, dude. Go back to you. What are you doing? There. That is a failed break, right? It confirmed and it failed. That'll happen sometimes. You had everything you needed to confirm the break and instantly failed. It's no different than taking a buy setup and it instantly fails. Like, oh, I had a ribby, it triggered and boom, it just screwed me. Yes, that'll happen. You will have confirmed breaks that instantly fail sometimes. No way around it. Okay? But the break happens when the bar closes and the next bar breaks that high. Or the bar gets big, wide through the pivot, which you need to know ahead of time where's your price. So on our downside, Julia, ready for your test? Pop quiz time. Pop quiz, hot shot. What do you do? What do you do? Give me the movie. Give me the movie. Nope, not Die Hard. Come on. Speed, Kathleen, cha-ching, baby. Oh, you don't know Keanu in the tunnel with Dennis Hopper? Bomb strapped to his chest. Pop quiz, hot shot. Yeah. All right, so Julia, for the downside pivot, for the support pivot, here's the trick question. This bar is still in motion, and it's a wide bar. Is that a break of the pivot? Julia, where are you? She's like, I'm not answering this. Stop giving me pop quizzes. Okay, so I set you up. All right, I set you up on purpose. It is a wide bar, yes. Is it? No, it didn't. And here's why. Okay. And everybody else has been through this knows this. I set you up on purpose. Remember what I said? It's a wide bar through the pivot. It's when it gets wide up past your pivot. Is this bar wide past the pivot? How much of that bar is past the pivot? Almost none. Correct? So that's not a wide bar past the pivot. It is a wide bar and it is slightly under the pivot, but we could still wait to see if this one's going to close. Right? Just email me about the reset. Just send me an email and I will send you the info. So, Julia, for this to be a break of the pivot and a wide bar, the first thing we have to do is go to our price axis. You tell me when to stop, right? So I'm going to extend this line over. As I'm going underneath this price, I'm going to go little by little. So is that far enough for you? Is that wide under the pivot? Just Julia. There's no wrong answer here. This is totally your call, what you think, what you feel. All right, so how about there? Is that good? For a single bar? All right, so there, so you're good. You're like, if it hits that point and it's still open, we're calling it a break. Boom. You're like, yeah, that's enough for me. I've seen enough. That's a break. Now I can look for my GBI. Now I can look for my give back. I'm good. Even if it's still moving, you're like, yeah, we broke it. I'm good. Okay? If it doesn't hit that point, anything shy of that price, even if it's a big bar, it's not a break yet. Because you said that's where I need to see the current bar hit before I call it a break. So if it stops short of that, you let it close. Now from this point, yes, it's under the pivot, but not by a wide margin, and then it closed. So now from here, we'd be looking for GBIs, little give backs, and continuation. And the minute that bar broke the low, it would confirm your break. Okay?